Hey guys, and I'm going to tell you how to get a grade 9 in your GCSE Chemistry. This here is a chemistry master plan which has condensed the entire curriculum into its subsections on the left hand side based on the specification, and then on the right hand side has multiple columns for each revision resource. So as you can see, it covers every topic listed in the specification, and then starting from the first column, you have your initial score in which you say, how would I grade myself in this topic? Would I give myself a grade 9, a grade 8, etc.? Then you would cover the topic in school, and once you've done that, then you can write the date into the column, and then afterwards you'd be writing notes from various resources, including the Oxford revision textbook and the CGP revision guide. Once you've compiled all your notes, then you can also revise from the website Seneca, which I'll talk more about later, and then you can do practice questions from any workbooks which you may have. This is to show you all of my chemistry resources from when I did my GCSE. So as you can see at the bottom, at the base, is all of my chemistry notes and practice questions which I've done, followed by my school notebooks in green, and then additional resources I had with the Oxford textbook on top, followed by the CGP revision guide, and then a Collins workbook. This list becomes quite important later on when you're revising and it comes closer to the exam. Primarily for my notes, I use the Oxford textbook. This, I would say, is the most important textbook, the Oxford textbook. You can see a paper copy on the right hand side, and if your school has a subscription to Kerboodle, then you would also be able to access this textbook online, and I believe it's the best because it covers the curriculum in more than enough detail for you to get full marks on any question that you answer. Here are some other revision resources which I use. On the right hand side is the CGP revision guide, which has the curriculum condensed down into a very thin book, and on the left hand side is a Collins workbook. As you can see, it says grade 8/9 booster workbook, so these are additional questions to try and help you understand the mark scheme as you go through the questions by yourself at home. This is the Seneca website, which you can create an account for online for free, and this covers most GCSE topics from most exam boards, and as you can see, this is an example from topic 5, in which it has slides which you can scroll through, and questions intertwined with the revision notes in order to test your knowledge. Something important which you should familiarize yourself with is the topics covered in each exam. So this is an example from the AQA exam board, which will cover topics 1 through 5, or half of the specification, and then it gives information about the exam. So it says that the exam will be 1 hour and 45 minutes. The exam will be out of 100 marks, and this will be half of your qualification. The types of questions which will appear in the exam are listed below. And this is the paper 2 example from AQA, so it covers the other 5 topics. This exam would also be an hour 45 minutes. This is also 100 marks, which is equivalent to half your GCSE, and the types of questions again are listed as below. This table covers the types of questions and how they should be answered. So starting from the top, you have basic 1-mark questions in which you'd give a short and to the point answer. These may also be multiple choice questions. Then we have 2-mark questions where you should give at least 2 or 3 points in your answer, which you would think would be on the mark scheme for that question. Then you have extended questions, which could be 3 or 4 marks, in which you should give as many pointers as the marks given, and these types of questions normally ask for comparisons or explanations, so you need to provide those if needed. And then finally you have 6-mark questions, These require a detailed explanation in order for you to reach the top band, and these are the questions which mark the difference between average students who'd be scoring 3 or 4 and top class students who'd be scoring 5 or 6 marks on these types of questions. One thing to be wary of is the listing rule, in which if you were to give 3 explanations in a 2-mark question and one of those explanations is incorrect, then that would subtract 1 mark from, even though you already had 2 correct answers, it would subtract 1 mark from that question. The key point to take away from this is to always look at the keyword in the question and make sure that you're answering the correct question. So you look at the command word. Does it ask you to explain? Does it ask you to describe? Does it ask you to compare or analyze? Whatever the topic is. This is an image which you saw earlier, which was the summary of my revision resources. And then on the right hand side I've added additional columns in which I'd write in the date when I covered it. This is to see how many times I went through each resource prior to the exam. So some of them I only covered once, the Collins questions, and other resources I covered multiple times in the run-up to exams. This is a blank copy of my revision plan, and if you want, then you can take a screenshot after pausing the video and use it for yourself. And now onto exam preparation. So firstly, you should follow the revision plan as above, making sure that you cover your bases and go through all your resources. And most importantly, you need to make sure that you're constantly doing practice questions in order for you to understand the mark scheme better, so that you know how to get the marks when it comes to the actual exam. And here are some resources which will be linked to in the description to multiple websites such as Physics and Maths Tutor, pictured on the left, and freeexampapers.com, pictured on the right. Physics and Maths Tutor provides both questions and revision resources, and Free Exam Papers has practice exam papers dating back to 2015 and earlier, for even the old specification. And just to clarify, even though the website is called Physics and Maths Tutor, it covers all the sciences and maths, including chemistry. To summarize, these are the key points which you should take away. So firstly, write up your own notes after you've learned the topic in school. Write these notes up from as many resources as you have available. For example, the Oxford textbook, your CGP revision guide, from the Seneca website. You can even take notes from the Collins workbook. The second point, which is as important if not more than the first, is to familiarize yourself with the mark scheme as you go through like practice questions. So if you understand the reason why a mark is given or why a mark isn't given, then that allows you to, when it comes to the actual exam, make sure that you write down the correct words which the examiner would be looking for in the mark scheme. Thirdly, when you're doing practice questions at home, I'd recommend that you write down the answer, because you'd be writing the answer down in the exam, and this way you can compare it objectively with the mark scheme and actually give yourself an accurate score as to how you're doing. And finally, best of luck to your revision and your final exam. And thank you for watching my video.